we need to start using some of this newfound versatility just to make it worthwhile. I think we need more sound effects, more Foley.
Oh, sound effects.
Maybe 7 or 8 more presenters just to really, really get this to be worthwhile.
Are we going to be able to find 7 or 8 more people to talk about this with us, you think?
No.
No, I don't think so either.
Let's just watch these cartoons alone.
Yeah, let's do that.
Hello and welcome back to the Space Jam Continuum, the show where we try to make a cohesive cinematic universe out of something that was never meant to be one. I'm Chris McLennan.
I'm Carl Noble.
And it's only been 2 days since we recorded the last one.
It has, but I'm ready.
Well, that's good. That's good to know.
I'm prepped and ready, and, I think it's going to be a good episode.
Wait,
last
episode, prepped?
Well, I set the microphones up earlier. I've had a couple of cups of tea. I've eaten some food.
That's good. That's the kind of preparation I can get on board with. I thought you betrayed the whole cause.
What, you thought I'd, looked at them beforehand?
I've prepped.
No way. Nah, I ain't going to do a thing like that.
You're a good man.
I haven't even watched Space Jam since I was I'm going to say 13.
Go on then.
I'm 13.
So, we watched Buckaroo Bugs last time.
Yes.
Learned about the fate of Red Hot Rider, who...
turns out to be Willoughby.
Willoughby.
Yeah.
Well, I presume Red Hot Rider was not his actual name. I presume his name's Willoughby.
You can only imagine so, unless he's taken
Hot Rider
that name.
Was his street name in 1864.
It didn't look like he was on the streets. It was more like
I don't know what they called it then.
Outback name.
Yeah, his Badlands name.
Yeah, that's it. That makes it sound cooler. Name. That makes it sound his Badlands name.
So we're going to skip the next one because it's called Goldilocks and the Jivin' Bears, and it's one of the censored 11. I was slightly amused by the fact that it was the first Merry Melodies cartoon produced by Eddie Seltzer.
Yeah,
he came straight in with his debut censored. Straight.
Immediately. I mean, I don't think it was censored immediately, but, for your first cartoon to be censored and put in of one of the worst 11 cartoons that Merry Melodies and Looney Tunes have ever produced
and
due
we've
to racism.
Watched some horrible shit.
Yeah, and they've just went, yep, that's one of them. And there's hundreds of choices that they could have made. That's one of the 11.
You'll be disappointed to learn that the one we are watching is also produced by Eddie Seltzer. Yeah. So I presume this is going to be high in the running for worst one we've ever watched. Although I can't see from the name how it would be.
No.
But I can see from a character how it might be.
Yes.
It's called Plain Daffy.
Yep.
It's called Daffy Duck.
Yep.
And a character called Hatamari.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that? From the debutante who brought you Goldilocks and the Jivin' Bears. How are you feeling about that going in? Daffy Duck and Hatamari.
Slightly worried because the thing is Hatamari is a named character, which means we're going to come across that character again.
Oh, holy shit. You're right. And when you're right, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get it over with.
Let's just go look
Let's watch Plain Daffy from September 16th, 1944.
That wasn't as bad as I thought.
No. I thought that was going to be much worse. Maybe Eddie Seltzer got a harsh reprimand.
Yeah, possibly. Because that was just a propaganda piece, a military propaganda piece, really. There was the presenter, narrator, I think, he was just doing a poem throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, it was nice. It was sort of in verse.
It
was classy.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So it's basically just Hatamari is a femme fatale.
Yeah. She's not very subtle with
her
swastika earrings and her swastika choker and her swastika shoes and her thick German accent.
So she basically intercepts the homing pigeons who are delivering military secrets about the place, lures them in, seduces them, steals the secrets, and then offers them a gun to commit suicide when they realise what they've done.
Yeah.
It seems to be, it looks like a revolver, but it does seem to be some sort of automatic weapon.
Yeah.
So an automatic pistol, maybe?
Some sort of German secret weapon.
Who knows? But then they decide, okay, well, none of the homing pigeons are getting through, so we need to send somebody who doesn't care about this lady, has no interest. And Daffy Duck turns up as the squadron woman hater.
Yeah, he gets all the good jobs, does Daffy?
Yeah.
But he's still in military service. That's something to note. Like he's still firmly in military service.
Yeah,
he did a brief stint trying to repair the reputation of Porky Pig.
Yeah.
But that was as close. But he owed them one after wrecking that hotel.
Oh, he did.
So
he did.
Now he's just back to regular service.
Yeah, like doing his bit for the country.
Yeah.
But so he goes out with his military secret and flies, across. Well, he tries to get across the mountains, and apparently this femme fatale lives across the road from.
Yeah, in like a house with a heart on the door.
Yeah.
And it's all that's actually been happening. Like, they've not been crashing and getting captured. They've just been on their way past.
Yeah, she stuck a leg out.
She stuck a leg out the door.
They've went, oh, a leg.
And then straight in there.
Yeah, that's it.
And even Daffy succumbed to that.
He did. But he did seem very terrified once he got in there and she started, trying to... Well, I mean, she wasn't even trying to seduce him.
No, not really. Just went straight in.
She was straight in for the kisses and, all of that. But he was... almost magnetically repelled.
Yeah,
like,
but
the closer she got, the further away he got.
Yeah, but when she managed to plant a kiss on him, he sort of got all frazzled, electrocuted, then melted.
Yeah.
And then she went into his bag, but then he unmelted and was like, "Give me that." And then there was a bit of a chase around, as you do.
Yeah.
And then when she finally gets him and kisses him again, he electrocutes her.
Yes.
And then he literally says, "Oh, something new's being added," which means he's very aware when he gets new powers.
Yeah, because I mean, like, it was obviously something that happened to him. Maybe he's like Rogue out of X-Men. Maybe once a power is used on him, he then has the ability to use it, whether or not it's for a finite. Well, that's it. Because like with Rogue, if she killed somebody while she was touching them, taking their power, that's it, she had it for good.
Yeah.
Whereas if she only touched them, she got it for a bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't know where...
But she sort of drained their life force a bit.
Yeah,
like...
but we don't know where Daffy lies on that. Like, is he... Once he's experienced the power, does he then just have it? Or does he have to kill to get it?
I'll be interested to see, because Daffy is one of the few we haven't actually seen successfully kill someone, I think.
Yeah, but it does make you wonder where he got all of his other Toon powers from. Whether or not his only Toon power is the ability to take Toon powers.
His has been fairly consistent, though.
It has.
Like, from the start.
Yeah.
And maybe he got them when he was a non-sentient duck before he passed his trouser test.
Possibly.
So, like, he couldn't really be held accountable for his actions. He was an animal.
Yeah. He had no idea what he was doing. But that is interesting that it would seem he has the ability to take powers, even if it is just for a finite amount of time.
Yeah. We also discovered, because at one point he hides in the fridge, and she opens the fridge and he goes, "What do you know? The little light, it stays on."
Yeah.
So
apparently in the Tooniverse, the light always stays on when you close the door.
They're not, but then again, are we still in, I guess we can't be in absurd monkey government stages anymore.
I wouldn't have thought so. I'd imagine now we've probably switched over to something different because it's wartime, so you can't just have rampant spending of money.
But you can still just keep the lecky on for your little fridge light all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I suppose with the ability to have sentient things in your fridge, they probably want the light on.
Yeah, it's true. We've seen sentient cheese and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so it's very possible that fridges are now just houses for sentient food.
Yeah.
So maybe they chip in, like maybe they pay for the electricity to keep it on while the door's shut.
Other things we discovered were Goering and Goebbels have spent way too long in the universe. Like, Hitler still looks like Hitler, and Goering still looks like Goering.
Yeah, but
Goebbels, he's green now.
Yeah, I think he's spent just a bit too long, and now he's getting envious.
But it's interesting to see that, like, there's been enough actual military movement in the Tooniverse for them to actually form squadrons and things.
Yes.
And Goebbels, at least, has been operating there for quite some time. Like, I think Hitler's, like, recently turned up in person.
Yeah.
But occasionally. I mean, he's not a great military leader.
No.
But Goebbels has been there for a while.
Yeah, well, he must have been, because he's
turned green.
He's getting more and more Toon. So it would
Yeah.
seem that, like, if you're a human, you spend too much. Either that, or he's been experimenting to make himself more toon.
Yeah, I mean, like the Nazis did have, a penchant for the occult,
They did.
and I mean that probably explains why they've got, probably more control over the portal than the agency has. I mean, they have their own portal. We've been presuming.
Yes, yeah.
Like, they seem to have control over it because they seem to be able to just pop in and do whatever, whenever. Whereas the agency still seems to be
Relying on the
very
portal opening.
observational.
Yes.
Sort of, let's just document this sort of vibe, apart from when very specific events occur and they have to intervene.
Yeah.
It's like they've got some sort of prime directive and Hitler doesn't give a shit about it.
No. But I mean...
And Goebbels definitely doesn't give a shit.
Well, he wouldn't, would he?
He's not just summering in the Tooniverse. He's
He's
gone full toon.
Yeah. And like I say, I think he's probably been trying to experiment in a way of making himself more and more toon-like, with probably the anticipation of gaining some pretty good toon powers.
Yeah.
I'd have thought.
Now, is there anything else? Because I think the next one has the potential to be quite interesting, because it's a character we've always thought was in Europe.
Yeah.
So it might be interesting to see what the world of Sniffles has to say about
That's a good point.
the turning up of Hitler and Goebbels and Goering.
Well, I think we should move. I think we should move on to that because I think with the playing Daffy, I think I've covered pretty much as I wanted to. I think.
Yeah, I think
some
I know
good
what's
stuff
going
was
on.
there, but
Well, let's move on then.
Yeah.
Let's watch Lost and Founding from September 30th, 1944. It's a Sniffles number. Let's give it a go. He's taken a turn for the worse.
oh, he has. He's lost it. All this years of alcohol abuse. It's not done well.
Luckily, presumably in sort of a week-long stint of sobriety,
Yeah.
Sniffles wrote himself some self-help books
Yeah.
for reference because he knew this was going to happen to him.
Yeah, he was just gonna lose his mind, and he's just
Because he's slowed right down.
yeah.
And yeah, it's just, he's become very self-centered. He's got a picture of him in nice clothes on the wall.
Yeah.
He's got bookends of himself.
I do like them though. They're pretty cool.
And he is the reference mouse every time it comes up in a book that he's written.
Yeah, I mean, like earlier on, he was there was a book which was Good Mousekeeping.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling that
I think that's more of a magazine.
yeah, but I think he's probably used to write for that magazine.
Do you
Like
think
in
there
his
was a-
younger days.
Do you think when he lost that job,
Yeah,
that
I
was
think,
when
I
it all
think
went
that's
wrong
when he
for
went
him?
off the rails.
I think he was borderline alcoholic at that time.
Yeah. No, he was using the alcohol to kind of get him through like the tough weeks, and then when they laid him off because of it, that's it. He just went.
He just lost it.
Yeah, he just went full deep into the drinking.
But yeah, anyway, by a sort of veritable Rube Goldberg machine of happenstance, an egg winds up falling from a hawk's nest,
Yeah.
like down, like off a cliff, down a tree, along a road, off a
through a
bridge,
river.
across a river,
Yeah.
on logs, and into the home of Sniffles.
Yeah. He now
Um,
lives underground on a cliff.
Yeah. Well, quite a long way from the cliff, I imagine. It was a long
It was.
long stream of events that led that egg to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he wakes up to this foreign object in his bed and immediately has to go and check, do mice lay eggs in a book?
What's interesting is that he's probably written this book.
Yeah, I reckon
So
so.
at some point he's went, at some point I'm going to think I've laid an egg. I should write down that mice don't lay eggs.
Yeah, but he wasn't bright before, but he has learned. And like,
Yeah.
so he's just at some point written down everything that he's learned.
Yeah, I suppose that's it.
Because he knows he's going to unlearn it pretty sharpish. Like that time he robbed that owl of an egg and then completely forgot and robbed his friend the owl of the egg again.
Yeah, that did happen.
Like, he knows. He knows he's got a habit of forgetting these things.
Yeah, but like it was good that the egg hatches and Sniffles immediately takes to raising the chick,
Yeah. Like,
thinking
oddly,
it was a
he
chicken.
has- yeah, he thinks all birds are a chicken.
Yeah,
But he's got diapers in the wardrobe and he's got like rose powder.
yeah, baby powder stuff. Like, I mean, at first I thought, oh, maybe that's just the box he's used as a table. But then having the diapers in the cupboard, that was a bit odd.
Yes, yeah, I think he's done this before.
It's very possible.
Not necessarily with a hawk.
And not necessarily on purpose.
Just with anything smaller than him that arrives.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'll take care of this. But it goes on for a year. So, like we get kind of a montage of him giving this small bird a shoulder carry. And it starts off in the spring, and then it does it again, and the hawk's getting bigger, and it's summertime, and then it goes in autumn, then winter, and it just gets bigger every time. So at winter time,
it's a full-on hawk.
Yeah,
by
it's
that
a full-on
point.
hawk. They end up back down in their house, and Sniffles goes, "Oh, you're a bit big for a chicken. I don't think you're an ordinary chicken. Let's look at the book."
Yeah, and it's what I like about it is it's the book.
Yeah, it's pretty much his one book, but he opens it up, looks at it, finds the picture, and it says hawk. He's like, "Oh, you're a hawk, not a chicken." And in there, he's obviously written down that a good food for hawks is a rodent. And there's a picture of him as the rodent.
Yeah.
And now we get into the situation.
I think that's in case you forgot what a rodent was.
Yeah, possibly.
He goes, any category that he fits into, he just draws himself next to the word.
Because it's easier. But then we end up in the situation that we spoke about a couple of weeks back of my good human friend Ron, where the hawk immediately goes, "Oh, I eat rodents, do I? Okay." And immediately tries to eat Sniffles.
Yeah.
He's just, "Oh, your food. Brilliant."
Yeah, but it's not the first time we've seen animals informed entirely about their nature by a book.
And then immediately
So there was Claude the cat. That's how he learned
that's true.
about cats and dogs and mice and birds.
Yeah. So
he wishes he hadn't learned about birds now.
I think so. But yeah, it got very sinister all of a sudden because they still remained living together. Sniffles didn't kick him out.
Yeah,
He
was
was
very
like,
strange.
"Oh, let's just go to bed, shall we?" And the hawk goes to bed and pretends to be asleep. Sniffles goes to bed with a giant pin
Yeah.
to, I'm guessing, stab
And then
the
he
hawk.
starts reading. Oh, he has 7 cups of coffee,
Yeah, he
much
gets up
like
in the end.
in the one Christmas
Yeah,
episode.
we've seen him try and stay awake. It doesn't work well.
And then he starts reading a book called Wake Up and Live, which I presume is a self-help book he's written for himself.
yeah.
But the bird swaps it out with good mousekeeping and a picture of a bed, lies Sniffles' like little deck chair down,
Yeah.
and then makes a sandwich that looks like a bed, and Sniffles immediately
Gets
acquiesces and hops in. And the hawk's about to eat him, but then he remembers all the good times they've had, and he just puts Sniffles to bed. And then the hawk looks in the book, and it says that there's a special type of hawk that doesn't eat rodents, and it can be identified by a red spot under its wing. And he paints a red spot under his wing, and him and Sniffles just go on as if nothing's the problem. Now, I don't know whether that is later intent to eat Sniffles, or whether he's just going to maintain that it's all fine and they're just going to have a lovely time.
Yeah, I think probably what's going to happen is the hawk's going to just grow to the point where it's going to leave the nest, and I think it's probably just going to leave. Because, it could, I suppose, be luring him into a false sense of security and then just going to chow down on him later, but I don't think that's how Sniffles is going to end.
No, I don't think so. But it doesn't really answer very much. Oh, Sniffles has no idea there's a war on.
Oh, no, well, no, but there again, he is just living in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. But
Like there was a road, there was trucks going over the road.
And he doesn't have the radio, I guess, and he doesn't have any publications he hasn't written himself.
Either that or he does know there's a war going on, but he forgot.
He has a post box, so...
He has got a post box, but
then he doesn't have
who's
going to
send him
Bookworm.
post?
What about Bookworm?
Bookworm could. I think Bookworm probably helped him write the books. But
I reckon him and Bookworm have had a bit of a falling out by now.
I admit, maybe Bookworm just couldn't either, one, keep up with the alcohol, or just didn't want to see his friend go down that road and was like, "Look, if you can't stop, then we just can't be friends."
Yeah, I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
That's probably the deal.
'Cause
And I
Bookworm was
reckon that's
sensible.
probably what triggered the week of sobriety in which he wrote all these self-help books for himself.
Yeah,
But it didn't work out. He got back on the source.
he
sharpish.
got right on it. But yeah, to be honest, there wasn't that many questions there, and
No.
therefore not many answers.
No, it was entertaining enough. Good to catch up with Sniffles, but not much answered.
No.
Now, I have a feeling the next one is a classic. For some reason, I recognise the name of the episode. The old grey hair.
Yeah, I recognise it as well. I mean, the thing is, it is a Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd, so they were normally classics.
It is apparently on the Looney Tunes Platinum Collection, Volume 1, Disc 1.
Whoa, I wonder if it was Episode
So
1.
Maybe it is quite the classic.
Yeah.
But let's check it out. It's a Bugs and Elmer number, The Old Grey Hair from October 28th, 1944. Well, that was an insight into the year 2000.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if it is.
No, I'm not sure if it is. I think it's all horse.
Yeah, I'm thinking that the situation we've got here is a bit sort of Charles Dickens Scrooge-esque.
He's been shown a potential future.
Yes, I think because like we were shown the year 2000, and in it there was old Elmer, and he was old. Now we know that in Space Jam he's not.
Yeah, and that's 1996, 97.
Yeah, so he hasn't aged that dramatically in 3-4 years, I don't think. In it, we're also shown an old Bugs. Now, Bugs is quite an easy one for us to kind of explain away with him being, a Toon Lord. It could just be Bugs from a long, long distant future.
Yeah, so I think the voice of the... So basically it starts with Elmer sort of crying that he can't catch that pesky wabbit, and then a voice from the sky basically goes, oh, come on, Elmer. If first you don't succeed, try again. And then it gives him an insight into the future.
Yeah.
And it skips him through 1950, 60, 70, 80, 90, all the way to the year 2000. And he's there, he's got a sort of space ray. Bugs is really old. And, like, for the most part, they go for a little bit of a, standard Elmer Bugs situation.
Yeah.
But Elmer hits Bugs. And Bugs is like, oh, you got me, as he does.
Yeah.
Starts digging himself a grave. Oh no! First he shows Elmer their
gets a
former
photo
life,
album,
which we'll get back to, like their former life, and then he starts digging himself a grave, and then he says goodbye, old friend, shakes hand with Elmer, and then like sort of ushers Elmer into the grave, and then buries him alive.
Yeah, again,
and then Elmer's like, well, at least that rabbit's out of my life forever, and he turns up just to give him a stick of dynamite, then bugger off again.
Yeah. Now this is the last time we saw Bugs. He did this to Red Hot Rider.
Yeah, and
pretty
he was
much
much younger
exactly
at that point,
the
because
same
this
thing.
is the oldest Bugs we've seen. I don't think this was a disguise, because when he's disguised himself as an old man before, it's just been like a big old beard and a voice. But he was visibly sort of shriveled and like.
Yeah, and again, like we can explain that by this is a long distant future Bugs that's come back. But why would he come back to do that? So
but then has he come back? Like, has he dressed Elmer up as old and like set this whole thing up?
What, in the year 2000 though?
No, like at the year it is. Like,
oh right, so you think he's set everything up
because
and he's just
the ray gun, for instance, is Buck Rogers branded.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that's not coming in the year 2000.
No, it's not.
It's coming in 1944.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd. But the thing is, like, if he's doing it to, if it's like long distance future Bugs has come back to do this to Elmer, what purpose? Like, what is he trying? Is he just trying to give Elmer hope?
I don't know. I mean, the other aspect is what was in the scrapbook, which flashed back to like when Elmer was apparently 3.5.
Yeah, and we know this didn't happen.
No, this didn't happen. It might have been 3.5 months, but anyway, it was a baby Elmer, baby Bugs, chasing each other about as they do. They have a little nap time in the middle, but they're just mates. Like Bugs just lives next door.
Yeah,
and we know this didn't happen because we know Elmer was an egghead.
We do know that,
but Elmer doesn't seem to know.
No, but that's it.
But then Elmer's been very easily convinced of things before.
Yeah, I think Elmer's transformation. It didn't leave him with much memory, and like maybe he's like a replicant, and
I was
maybe
going to say
just put memories in to make
Bugs
him feel
is
more
like Gaff. He's like leaving origami unicorns around the place.
Yeah, I think, and that's probably
matchstick men.
Yeah, I think this is maybe why Elmer is so ready to believe that he has always been a human.
So, do you think Bugs' aim is to, without directly saying it, try and make Elmer realise that he's not a human?
I thought always he's trying to convince them that he is, because like why show him a book of him as a child if you're not trying to convince him that he's had a childhood?
Yeah, I mean, so do you think Bugs' whole aim is just to convince Elmer that he's
A human.
a human?
Well, I'm thinking, something possibly in the future is going to happen to Elmer to make him question his humanity, and Bugs has to try and implement memories to go, look, no, you are human. You've had a childhood.
So why does Bugs need him to believe that?
Maybe he needs Elmer for something. And it's fallen to future Bugs to sort this out, because we've seen him do this before. We've seen him come back and sort out problems.
So do we think there's going to be an episode at some point? Well, maybe. I mean, maybe it's Space Jam.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Because like that absolutely is everyone just puts their differences aside.
Yeah.
For the greater good,
and just get on, and maybe Elmer just
Bugs
goes,
just needs everyone on board for that.
And but in one timeline, possibly Elmer just goes. He figures out, he's like, no, like I'm an egghead. Like, why would I want to help you guys out? Why do I want to help out the humans? And just doesn't. So Bugs has to come back to implant false memories. Because
the last of these things is when Bugs presumably visits Bill Murray to say, we need Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
He realises that, what he's got together still isn't enough.
But it's odd that we're seeing, like...
We can't talk about it. So.
No. But it's odd that we're seeing old Bugs do this and not kind of Space Jam Bugs.
Yeah, but I think Elmer's one of the ones he'd realise he needs last.
Yeah.
Because Elmer's never really proven himself particularly able.
No. And possibly, like to pull the gaff off, like to pull off the convincing memory, Bugs had to be old.
Yeah.
To do it.
Maybe now,
he just
in
wasn't
showing
ready
him
Space
this,
Jam.
like, the future...
Yeah.
Like, do you think Bugs has a way of manipulating the portal, like looping it back on itself? So, like, you can see from a portal in the Tooniverse, future Tooniverse, because we've always presumed this is possible.
Yes.
And that people can time travel by basically exiting the portal in, like, what is essentially to us a period piece.
Yeah.
And then jumping back in a contemporary piece.
Yeah.
So at some point, I've got to believe that, like putting two mirrors opposite each other, at some point, the portal they have in the States and maybe one of the portals the Nazis have are put opposite each other and activated simultaneously to different parts of the Tooniverse, such that one can see the other.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah. I feel a Looney Tunes movie coming on Warner Brothers. You're fucking welcome.
Maybe this is how we're going to fill up the Porky Piggy Bank.
Maybe. Speaking of which,
yeah, should we go?
Let's go and have a fruitless look in it.
Yeah, let's.
It's full.
It's
millions
magic.
Of Warner Brothers dollars for our hit feature film coming this fall.
Yeah, it's a shame that it's made of air.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. It's still as
hasn't happened
empty
yet,
as it's always
but it has been around 17 seconds since I pitched the idea via the medium of a podcast,
which they're probably not listening
not listening to, because I imagine we'd have had a cease and desist by now if they were.
Yeah, do you guys mind not doing this?
So first up, thank you very much for listening to the podcast. It's nice to know we're not alone in this endeavour.
Yeah.
And thank you for all your support so far. But over at Kaiju, we could ask you for maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, just, not a lot though.
It's just Rob over at Kaiju. He does a lot for us.
He does.
But the biggest thing currently is he keeps us in hosting. We don't have to pay for that, but Rob does.
It does, and it helps. It helps you guys listen to us.
Absolutely,
because otherwise you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, because we're quite loud, but
we're not that loud. No.
So there's a support page over at kaiju.fm, and if you click on that, it'll take you to a Patreon bit, and for as little as $1 a month, you can really help us out. That's 25 cents an episode if you only listen to us, and it would really be hugely appreciated.
Yeah.
Other than that, you could give us a review on iTunes. That helps massively.
Like ratings, everything makes such a big difference.
Just helps us like helps the visibility of the podcast and helps us get the word out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, do exactly that. Get the word out.
Yeah, start telling people. Walk down your street with a trumpet and maybe a one-man band and just proclaim your love for the Space Jam Continuum.
Yeah, just yell about it.
Yeah. Get it tattooed on your forehead.
Yeah.
Don't do that. No,
don't.
I'm
No,
going back
you're right.
on that idea.
Yeah, okay.
The one-man band thing, though, that's a
do
good
that.
one.
That's good. That'll
Yeah.
just be fun for you anyway.
Exactly. Learn to beatbox and make us a song.
Oh, please.
And then send it in.
Yeah. There's one last thing you can do, which would be great.
Go on, then.
We're putting on a live show.
Yeah, we are.
On the 13th of June at the
Yep.
Pavilion in Reading, which is like a converted 1920s cinema. We're putting on a live screening of Who Framed Roger Rabbit to celebrate our first birthday as a podcast.
Yay.
And we'll be doing a live episode after that. So that's going to cost £3. And if you go to kaiju.fm/live, you can go and buy tickets for that. They're £3. That's good, dirt cheap cinema.
You can't see Who Framed Roger Rabbit at the cinema anywhere at the moment, let alone for £3.
Yeah, and it would just be nice to see a bunch of you and get you involved in the discussion. Because
you can meet us, shake our hand, talk to us.
Or do none of those things, which is...
Just sit there and look at us.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
They might still do it.
Well, I mean, I hope they do.
But that's the 13th of June at the Pavilion in Reading. kaiju.fm/live. Go and buy a ticket.
Do it.
Because, we'd love to see you.
We would.
Let's get back to watching some cartoons, I reckon.
Yeah. Talk about looking at things. Let's go look at a cartoon.
Let's go and look at some cartoons. Okay then, next up, The Stupid Cupid.
Yeah.
It's a Daffy Duck and Elmer number. They haven't been together in a while.
No, they haven't.
Like, they were early nemesis, but he really got overshadowed by Bugs.
Yeah.
And with good reason. Bugs is more of a threat. We didn't think that before.
No. We always
used to
thought he was
think
going to be
Daffy
the good
was
guy.
the scariest one.
Yeah.
And as we've said a couple of times, Daffy's the only one.
Yeah, but I'm thinking,
I think-
like time traveling eternal rabbit. That's going to mess with your head a bit.
Yeah, but Daffy's head's pretty messed up.
He is, but the question is if Daffy kisses Bugs, is he going to get the time travel ability?
Let's find out. It won't be in this one, but let's see if he got something from Elmer, because we know Elmer has that hypnosis ability.
We do.
He just hasn't discovered it yet.
But Elmer's also taken some powers from Bugs as well. He just doesn't know them all yet.
Was that not the hypnosis one?
I don't know if it was... Well, but we don't know if it was just that, though.
Well, let's find out. Let's see what happens in The Stupid Cupid, starring Daffy Duck and Elmer Fudd from November 25th, 1944. So, Elmer still gets that catalogue.
Yeah, he does.
So, for those who haven't been listening from the start, Elmer was once an egghead, which was a race of basically sentient eggs with animatronic human bodies, which had a very short lifespan. And there was a program to try and give them the best life possible in their short lives. So there's sort of a benefit, sort of government scheme where they could get all these sort of different experiences.
Yeah.
And Elmer was the first egg that hatched into a human.
Into something. I don't know if he's human.
Yeah, but
I mean, he's hatched.
He seems as human as any other toon human. Now, at this point, I think only Bugs seems to know that Elmer wasn't always human.
Yeah. I think he knows he was an egg.
But Elmer still seems to get the catalogue of all the experiences that he could have, because he's Cupid today.
Yeah, and like proper Cupid as well.
Yeah, like Acme have invented an arrow.
Which makes people fall in love.
Fall in love with the first thing you see.
Has a short lifespan, though, which is good, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, but then it only needs to, because it's only there for the experience, I imagine.
Yeah.
But the fact that Elmer is now...
flying around.
But he's not an egghead anymore.
He's not.
Like, he's exceeded that lifespan massively.
Yeah, which means he probably shouldn't be getting the magazine
anymore. Yeah, this
anymore.
is benefit fraud.
Yeah, that's essentially what's
Plain
happening.
and simple, benefit fraud. But that said, he's going around, cutting around, doing his Cupid thing.
Yep.
He sees Daffy. Daffy is not having any of it.
Nope. He does not want
because
to
he
be
doesn't
with
want to
a
lose
lady.
his job as the squad woman hater.
Nope.
But Elmer fashions some massive version of the arrow,
Yeah, which does the job.
which does the job. I don't know why it being massive helped at all.
It's hard to avoid big things.
What is the Hellboy thing? I
Yeah.
fire very big bullets. So Daffy falls in love with a chicken.
Yeah.
So I can't see him keeping his squad woman hater job for very long. He draws the ire of the
husband.
chicken's husband, but they they make up over it. It was like, look, it was a mistake. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what came over me. It was stupid Cupid.
And then Daffy's storming out of there, and Elmer hits him again. And Daffy's straight back in there. The rooster is kissing the chicken.
Yeah.
And then Daffy pops up in the middle and starts kissing the chicken, and the rooster's just kissing the back of his head, and that's the end of the episode.
What was interesting, though, we didn't see any transfer of powers. Now, I think that's because...
The chicken didn't have any powers.
Well,
though.
the chicken didn't have any power, and I don't even think that chicken was sentient.
No,
The-
it's just regular
The cockerel
chicken.
was sentient.
Yeah, we've
'cause
seen
he was
that before,
talking.
though. Daffy's
Yeah.
first marriage.
Yeah. Like, so I think there was no transfer of powers because there was no powers to transfer. So it doesn't work the other way around either. He can't pass powers that way.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, he's got a family again. That's why he was against it. But I don't know that he does.
No, I don't
Last
think
time he had a
does.
family, it was just a bunch of his mates in hats.
Yeah. I think he now has this because his first marriage worked out so badly. He's just like, look, I'm going to use the family thing as and when I need to get out of commitments.
Yeah, which is why he serves so well as the squad woman hater.
He does. Because his last marriage, it burnt him.
Until
it burnt
now.
him strong.
So I think we're going to see a bit more Daffy and Elmer rivalry again.
Yeah, he's probably not going to be happy that Elmer's done this to him.
Yeah, he's going to get him court-martialed.
Yeah, and that's not what Daffy wants. You know, he's already on the slightly bad end of things. He's had to do some
Yeah, do you think
sucking
Daffy's
up.
getting an honourable discharge? I fucking
No,
don't.
he might get a medical one, though.
No, possibly. But yeah, I don't know if there's much more to take from that episode. There was that cat who, like, because it was Hector and a Claude, well, like Hector and Claude, like,
Yes, yeah.
double team. And Elmer shot the bulldog, and the bulldog kissed the cat, and the cat, as we've seen before, because there is still, it would seem, an unwritten law in the Tooniverse that if you've seen everything, you have to kill yourself.
Yeah.
Because the cat just said, oh, now I've seen everything, and proceeded to shoot himself through all of his lives. Now, it sort of heart faded
Yes.
away
At
before
7.
we saw at 7.
So we can only assume that this cat didn't finish the job because
unless he
used
had
a
one
real gun.
Unless he had one of those automatic German revolvers from the previous.
Yeah, possibly. But the thing is
Daffy episode.
like he used a real gun to take his physical life, and then there
Oh,
was
it's
ghost
yeah.
guns, which might not have a limit. But the thing is no on-screen death. Therefore,
We can't chalk it up, and
No.
it was not a named character.
no. So I mean, if he died,
it wasn't
he died.
Hector and Claude listed. So
No.
if he died, he died. But like, we've got to get to the bottom of how this law came about.
Yeah, it is. It
People
is
seem
weird.
to take it very seriously.
They do take it very seriously. As soon as you've seen everything, that's it.
That's it. You need
You
to end
have
it.
to commit suicide. So I mean, unless it's maybe, the gem in your hands changed colour sort of malarkey. You know, a bit of Logan's Run.
Yeah, but
And maybe,
so is that how you know you've seen everything?
well,
There's something in your palm.
like it's either that or to wait because if toons are essentially immortal, or if some toons are essentially immortal, they probably had to come up with a rule
Yeah, I mean,
of you've seen everything now, just do your selling.
yeah, I mean, I guess it's not. I guess most of them aren't immortal, but they're a hardy bunch, and
Yeah, but I think they're like Santa Claus, are immortal until killed.
yeah, they're immortal, not invincible.
Yes. So like I'm thinking,
Like elves.
but like the whole I've seen everything. That's, I mean, is it a subjective thing or just an objective thing? Like, do you literally have had to have seen everything? Because none of them would be killing themselves otherwise.
We speculated before that they had to make a list,
Yeah.
and the more savvy ones would put like really unlikely stuff.
Yeah.
But the nature of infinity just makes it such that even the least likely thing you could put on your list, Like the nature of infinity plus the nature of the Tooniverse.
Yeah,
together
well, that's it. It's the Tooniverse bit that
makes
really
it like
changes
it's still probably going to happen.
Yeah, and it could happen relatively quickly.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, we'll have to try and get to the bottom of this, but it has cropped up quite a few times.
But yeah, apart from that episode didn't answer very much. Apart from the fact that Elmer's still like, it explains Elmer's not change of character, but like change of MO regularly.
Yeah,
like he always goes back to his hunter bit, but like sometimes Elmer's just something else, and it explains that he's still got the catalogue. Yeah,
well, that's it. He just goes, "Oh, that sounds like a fun experience. I'll have a go at that one."
He's just hoping no one informs the monkey government or whoever's in government now.
Yeah.
Right. Last one then?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
This is going to be an interesting one, actually.
This is both the last one for this week's episode and also the last one for 1944.
Yeah, we're going to wave goodbye to that.
So we'll swing in next week straight into 1945 and straight into a new character. But right now, we're going to watch Stage Door Cartoon, Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd from December 30th, 1944. Jesus Christ, it's going to wind up like fucking, what was that time travel film? The one where they just make the box time machine and the timeline of it's really fucking confusing.
I can't remember.
That's going to annoy me.
But is it like that?
It's going to end up like that.
Right.
Like if they keep opening more portals.
Yeah, that ended really strangely.
What's it fucking called?
I don't know.
Because in my brain now I've got Looper and it's not Looper. Looper's the one with Bruce Willis.
It is, and it's not that. Do you need to take a minute?
No, go on.
Okay, right, so what we've got is opens on Elmer and he's got a fishing rod with him and he's like, "Oh, I bet you think I'm going fishing." Now he says this to us. So he obviously knows the portal is open on him. And
yeah.
So he puts a carrot on the fishing rod, throws it down the hole, and then Bugs pops out right behind Elmer, hooks it onto his trousers, and goes, I know I'm going to hate myself in the morning for this.
Yeah, I mean, I think this part's largely irrelevant. It basically, like, it's like, they get into a chase, they wind up in town, they wind up in a theatre.
Bugs does say, he kills me. Now,
yeah.
Either he's talking about he just finds Elmer hilarious, or he just knows that at some point Elmer is going to kill him.
But I think it's both.
Kill him through laughter? Literally?
No, I think he likes to imply that.
Yeah.
But I think he knows there's something more sinister at work. Primer. That's the film.
Right,
Primer.
okay, good. I'm glad you got there.
Sorry.
That's all right. I like it when people shout Primer at me. It's good.
That's the film. That's the film I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I'm glad we got there in the end.
Sorry.
That's quite all right. So, yeah, he chases them into town, and they end up backstage of a theatre. And Bugs ends up on stage, but while the curtain's shut, trying to escape from Elmer, because Elmer has developed the ability to turn up in one place and then another immediately.
Yeah, so he must have some sort of teleportation power. Similar, like we wondered about like elemental sort of teleportation powers, like Bugs is earth, maybe Daffy's air or water.
Yeah,
who knows? But Elmer can definitely do that standard cartoon thing of being at one side of the stage with a gun,
and then
Bugs on the other side. He's just the other side. So he's getting hold of his toon powers.
He is. Now, Bugs is in the middle of the stage, and then the curtain opens, and Bugs immediately starts performing, like he just can't help himself.
Yeah, and I think this goes a long way to explaining like some of his behaviour, like not the really bad stuff, but just some of his
everyday antics.
So, like, he just has to do it. As soon as the portal opens on him, he's just like, he just has to have some goofs.
But what's interesting is Elmer seems to have the opposite. As soon as he ends up on stage and the curtain goes up, he clams up.
He'll literally do anything he's told because he's terrified. He seems fine through the portal, but not in front of an actual audience he can see.
Like, it's really weird. Like, if the portal's on him, he's fine. But
yeah, but that's how much different is that to, like, I don't know. I can imagine there's plenty of people who would be like comfortable being on TV, but not comfortable
in front of a live audience.
Live audience.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I think it's basically the difference.
Yeah. But what is interesting, this gets us quite close to the end of this episode, which is where it starts getting really intense.
Yeah.
So Bugs goes off stage into the costume room and puts on a costume and pretends to be a sheriff, or something like that. Goes on stage and basically just goes, right, Elmer, because Elmer's
he's made
being
Elmer
undressed.
strip.
Yeah, he's being undressed, and he comes on the stage and goes, right, I'm arresting you for southern exposure, and marches him off the stage and then down the aisle of the theatre, which is full of humans.
Yeah. And then you hear, I think it's called the merry-go-round has broken down, like the standard like Looney Tunes. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. And they turn around and it's a Bugs cartoon on the screen. And he goes, oh, I'm not missing this. And he sits them down.
Yeah.
Now, if they're viewing a Bugs cartoon and we're viewing a Bugs cartoon, there's 2 portals in play.
Well, I mean,
maybe even 3.
It's whether or not them showing that Bugs cartoon is the portal opening, or whether or not they just, because if you remember, that was black and white, so they could just be showing
previous
recorded,
archival footage.
Yeah, they could just be showing a recorded Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that gives us a shelf life on how long these things are classified for.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that because it turns out that it wasn't Bugs dressed up as the sheriff. When Elmer goes, I'm onto you, and opens the shirt on the sheriff, it's a human in there. It's a guy.
Did they pass over any soil at any point?
I don't think so, but I mean, we don't know what Bugs has got in his pockets. But
it wasn't. Sprinkle it. He jump in there, get a sheriff, pop back out, bung him in the outfit.
But then it turned out that Bugs was the conductor in the audience, in the, orchestra pit. He was the conductor, so it's possible he just nipped up after the change.
But this is what I mean. This is why it's going to get like Primer, because, like, you can essentially wind up duplicating yourself.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like what was shown there, that Bugs cartoon, I'm thinking it was just they just put an old cartoon on because it was black and white. It wasn't colour.
We still had
like the fact that it was black and white makes me think it was just a black and white film. It was just a recording from our side.
Sure, I know it opens up a lot of possibilities.
Well, it does. It really does.
I mean, I don't know that they're possibilities I'm prepared to deal with. Because that's what I mean. I don't want it to get like Primer. I don't know if you've ever looked at the written down timeline for the film Primer.
I have not.
Timeline is a strong word. Scribble.
Oh, I don't know. I do just think that this was
them showing a cartoon. Bugs made good his escape from the outfit. Bunged a sheriff in there.
Yeah, because I mean the thing is, like we saw the sheriff go on stage. We saw Bugs dress as the sheriff in the dressing room. We don't know that. That he was the sheriff that went on stage.
Yeah.
He could have been off stage ages ago.
Well, because I presume, like, just for in a standard Bugs goof sort of way, he left the sheriff disguise and swapped in for an actual sheriff.
Yeah.
By presumably travelling through the soil, finding a sheriff, grabbing him, and travelling back through the soil in an instant and leaping back into the clothes of the sheriff.
Yes.
But I imagine he must have done that at a juncture that allowed him to get to a projection room and put on a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Yeah, that's knowing that this sheriff loves a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Maybe that's how he got the sheriff to come with him.
Possibly. The thing is, like he is a master magician. Like he's really good at the whole like, ooh, look over here while I'm doing this sleight of hand bit. His distraction game is top notch.
Yeah, I mean, if we do open the notion that it is possible for Bugs essentially via the medium of travel of time and space, duplicate himself, then it does mean that certain things where we've gone, we know that doesn't happen in that timeline because this, and this. Actually, like, well, it could, because he could have left a Bugs to get old into the year 2000, and also this completely separate Bugs popping into space.
Either or we've got like interdimensional travel, like possibly like when we've seen different Bugs, it could be a Bugs from a different timeline, like not just different timeline, but a different. I mean, if you assume that changing something in a timeline basically splits the timeline. You end up with different dimensions where different things have happened. It could be a bug from a timeline where something bad happened and went, "No, I need to go back and fix that."
Yeah, 'cause
but that makes a different timeline.
We've been basing it on a non-fatalistic time travel ruling, right?
Yes.
Like, you can change it. You go back and you change it.
But
Who knows?
if every time you change something in the past, it splits a new timeline.
Yeah, I'd rather not. I'd rather not get it into multiple universes simply because it's so easy to explain a lot of stuff away in multiple universes.
It is.
We just go, oh, it's just a universe where that happened.
Well, no, I'm thinking that like the portal we're watching
think it's
always
got to be
just goes along.
I think it's got to be a looping, linear, Terminator-esque time travel. It has to be.
Yeah, well,
because otherwise,
yeah,
he's not fixing anything.
No,
It becomes Rick and Morty at that point, where you just leave the Cronenberg universe.
Yeah,
because you fucked it.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
I mean, like I say, I think at the end of that one, it was literally just him showing a show. It wasn't the portal opening.
Yeah, that's
because
easier,
it was black and white.
But it's food for thought.
It is, yeah, really is.
But yeah,
I think that's a good place to leave it.
That's a good place to leave it. So we'll be back next week for 1945.
Yeah,
and the introduction of a beloved new character. But we'll
look forward to it.
We'll let you come to that next week.
Yeah.
So, thanks for listening. Please do go and take a look at the live show and come on down.
Buy
way to
tickets.
Spend £3. It's 13th of June. Come and watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit and
That'd be good.
Listen to a podcast and have a chat. Otherwise, see you next week.
Yeah. Bye.